don't think there's any club like it. The support they have, just their whole ethos is unbelievable.
When I talk about London Pulse, I talk about us rather than just, a team who I'll support. So, yeah, this is great. Absolutely marvellous.
Quite rare to get that close to people that you watch playing sport on TV. So, yeah, we're really excited to be here.
I think it's just giving us a bit of a glimpse into what this season's going to look like. We had a couple of matches last year where we had some fans, but it was really limited. Just to see some faces now that we'll hopefully see in the crowd in a few months' time is really cool.
This is Centre Pass from London Pulse, the podcast produced by Anything But Footy for London's only Vitality Netball Superleague side.
I think it's amazing.
This is Centre Pass from London Pulse, the podcast produced by Anything But Footy for London's only Vitality Netball Superleague side. And we're in Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park for a very special occasion, an evening with London Pulse, an opportunity for players, staff, sponsors, partners and fans to get together to hear more about the club and their work. Coming up, we hear from new signings Sasha McDonald and Taylor Honey as they swap Melbourne for London.
My first impression obviously was it's pretty cold, but I think it's really pretty. It's so amazing. It's quite grand. We've done a little bit of sightseeing here and there. It's just so different to Australia, and that's really interesting for us too, to be able to experience the city side of it.
And a special announcement as London Pulse reveal their latest sponsor.
We might be a vitamins brand, but we're really into well-being. And so for us, it's about creating, that entire wellness community. So it just pulled in absolutely perfect.
But first, with not long to go till the new Vitality Netball Superleague season, Michael's been finding out how preparations have been going.
Hi, I'm Zara Everett. I play goal defence and wing defence for London Pulse.
Sum up the last period of your life for me, because you've got London Pulse, England, graduated as well. How have you managed to do all of that?
Yeah, it's been a lot of things happening, and I've kind of come through the other side of it now, and I'm pleased to have got it all done. But yeah, I graduated in the summer, just finished my law degree and continuing with some things related to that now. And also, yeah, I've had really great opportunities to represent England A and be in the Futures programme alongside or kind of following the performances that we had in the Super League last year. So a lot of the things kind of come together, and I guess I wouldn't have had the opportunities for England if we hadn't had such strong performances for Pulse, and I know that's the same for quite a few of the girls here. But yeah, it's been a really exciting time.
Says a lot about London Pulse, doesn't it, that there is that representation through the ranks, if you like, at England level now?
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes a difference because we have that kind of culture here where we know that as young players we're trusted and we're relied upon to produce really good performances. So I think that when we get put into the England environment, we're really prepared and ready to take on responsibility and I guess stick to structures that we were given in training. But yeah, I guess also the relationships that we've built here at Pulse are then reflected on the court when we play together at England.
Hi, my name is Halima Adio, I play for London Pulse.
In the last episode of Centre Pass, the London Pulse podcast, we spoke to Lisa and Sam, and we spoke a lot about culture. What can you tell us about what Lisa has instilled in you in the short time she's been here?
Because we've been at England camp, we haven't had too much interaction with Lisa yet, but from what I've seen from her so far and what I've spoken to her about, it's, I guess, about us building a really strong foundation of working hard, applying the principles that we are relying on as a club. I guess also having that sense of togetherness as well as the sense of individual responsibility and kind of meshing all of that together. And I think that's something we had a really strong foundation of last year anyway, and I think that Lisa's only going to add to that with all of her experience.
And those small details that Lisa told me about when I interviewed her, that's a performance advantage going forward, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. I think that something to acknowledge is that whilst everyone knows who Lisa is over in the UK, a lot of the other teams won't have had exposure in terms of playing against her style. So anything that she can add in terms of detail or her own experience is only going to be an advantage for us.
I think having Lisa there is completely different from what I'm used to. She's a very direct, straight-talking woman, and I love that. She also sees the potential in our team, and when you need that extra push and that extra person to see that potential in you, when you have someone like Lisa here, we can all see that as a team. She's also very team orientated, and she wants to build that culture within the team, so she's making sure that we all learn something from the session and we're all giving each other feedback and we're actually telling each other the truth and being honest, and I like that. And I think she's also the reason why it's just been a different feel in the club. Everyone's so motivated, so having her here, world class coach, I'm super excited to see the potential we have.
So tell us what you're doing then at the moment in terms of work, obviously with the season still just a couple of months away now.
So at the moment I'm still rehabbing. So I had an injury towards the end of the season and I'm just trying to get back into it to be with the girls and support the girls. But I know that they're training really hard, and having Lisa, Sam, Fee and everyone behind the scenes working us extremely hard. Obviously pre-season's mostly about fitness and trying to get the combinations and partnerships working, and I know that in attack, defence and mid-court everyone's doing everything they can. So it's just nice seeing them work hard, and I'm super excited because this season, the beginning of it, is a different feel than how it was last season. Like, everyone seems so connected, and having the imports finally in, it's nice. We've got a full house and we're just ready and rearing to go.
I remember seeing Sam's tweet about your injury. Take us back, tell us what happened and how you are now then.
So it was actually a weird one. So basically we were playing Manchester Thunder. I think we were like drawing, or we might have been one down, and I think my foot must have just gone a bit further than my knee would have went with it, and just kind of went, and I thank God that it wasn't as serious as we thought it was. It was only a lateral meniscus, and then I had my op literally the next week. It's been a slow rehab, I think, just trying to figure out things, and because I've been away from the court, it's like my muscles are just trying to get used to everything again. But I know that I will get there, and I am soon there. You know, I've been progressing, built that strength back up, already back on court doing certain things. So yeah, it's been a long one, but I'm super excited to get going.
So tell us what happens now. New season is February 2022. So what's the plan between now and then as far as you and London Pulse is concerned?
I think the goal is just for us to be training together as much as possible. I know that all of us are really keen to get in and work with the other girls as much as possible. So yeah, it's just kind of nailing down those principles that I spoke about, making sure our fitness is up there and ready to be firing in February. But also working on those combinations with each other. There's a couple of the girls who I haven't played with before, and others who I played with a few years ago. So it's just nailing down those combinations before we get to the season.
And the new season, what would represent success for you personally and for the team, of course?
I think, of course, we're always going for the win. That's always in the back of our minds, and is the ultimate goal. But I think we're just going to take it match by match, focus on the process and trying to tick those wins off one by one.
We just want to perform. We want to do better than what we did last year. That's what every team's goal is. We're hoping to at least be near the top, and we want to show everyone the potential we have, because we're a young team and we're an amazing team. And obviously last year we started to show our potential, and people started to actually fear us towards the end of the season, but we want to start that at the beginning, and we want them to have that fear about us and know that London Pulse are here and trying to win the whole thing.
Hallie Adio and Zara Everett speaking exclusively to Centre Pass from London Pulse. Ahead of the new season that we've just been hearing about, there's also a new club sponsor. Made 4 Vitamins have come on board as London Pulse's new nutritional partner. Here's Christiane Quigley from the company to tell us more.
Obviously, there's a tie-in with nutrients and sports and ensuring that the players, you know, and the staff are well looked after from that point of view. But another thing that we're, you know, really inspired by is women in sport, and you know, I know that the team are really trying to push, you know, female sport, and that's something that we're really interested in helping and guiding as well.
How much was it in your decision to link up with London Pulse that they're more than just a Vitality Netball Superleague side? They're a community club. They are involved in so many different initiatives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we were originally speaking to them, they really, you know, sold it, if you will, as a community, and that's so important as well. You know, we might be a vitamins brand, but we're really into well-being, and so for us, it's about creating, you know, that entire wellness community. So it just pulled in absolutely perfect.
And the conversations around well-being have come on leaps and bounds, haven't they? The pandemic has meant people are talking about well-being in a way that we didn't 2 years ago. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think every other word is immunity support. So that's something that, you know, obviously as a vitamins brand, we speak about quite often. And I think, you know, for the players, that's also going to have to come into play. So I think now more than ever, well-being, both, you know, physically but also mentally, is so important. And you know, post-COVID, if we can call it post-COVID, you know, we want to move towards, you know, creating, you know, wellness that includes, you know, obviously your mental health as well as, you know, vitamins as part of that daily schedule.
And I'm interested how in practice the partnership works. It's more than just a board courtside and a bit of something on the arm, isn't it? A badge on the arm?
Yes, no, absolutely. So all the players, all the staff, all the, the coaching team will all be able to try, made for vitamins as part of their daily schedule. Our vitamins come in little sachets, so when they're traveling around, they're playing in different parts, they're able to take it with them. So from that point of view, I'm really hoping it becomes part of their lifestyle.
And you, all London Pulse super fans now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I'm Australian, so, netball's in my blood, so it's coming back to me now. And, we're now London Pulse fans, and we'll be down as soon as we can for the first game.
In early 2021, London Pulse also announced they were part of a new women's elite sport partnership. Together with other London and Essex-based elite sport clubs, they're aiming to create a unique and powerful opportunity for women's sport by working collectively to increase participation, capture new audiences and enhancing the player pathway experience.
I'm Aidan Boxer, I'm the General Manager at West Ham United Women. The reason why we got involved is we formed a women's elite sports partnership with ourselves, the London Pulse, there's the Sunrisers cricket team, we've got potentially Essex Cricket as well, the London Lions basketball team, the Essex Rebels basketball team, and we're looking at how we can promote women's sport in and around our community.
And why is that important?
For me personally, the starting point will be to get as many women and girls playing sport in the first place, just for the physical and mental well-being, and then it's obviously looking at how professional sport can provide careers for women within our community.
I'm Danny Warren, I work for Sunrisers. We are the professional women's cricket team that cover London and the East region.
Is it a learning experience, a knowledge exchange between yourselves and London Pulse?
Absolutely, I think it's the same with all of the clubs that we're working closely with, in that we want to think big, we want to dream about dominating and being the best that we can be, and you're not going to do that on your own in anything. So to be able to speak to people at Pulse, to be able to draw on their experiences, to be able to maybe learn things from a performance perspective, to see how their players deal with pressure and what we can learn from that, there's so many opportunities for us to work together.
And women's sport at the moment in this country, when you think back to Great Britain hockey, England netball at the Commonwealth Games, our best athletes are Dina Asher-Smith, Katarina Johnson-Thompson, it has a real opportunity at the moment, doesn't it, to really push through a bit?
Yeah, it was really fitting to be sat here in the Olympic Park, because I almost look back to 2012 and it kind of resonates as a time when women were accepted as athletes. And yes, there's been almost a decade since then, and that's seen a generation grow up really wanting to play sport at the highest level and wanting to push themselves and make a living out of it. So we've got so many opportunities, and we just want to get them in front of people so that they can inspire the next generation in the same way that athletes did here.
The multi-skill camps have already started. That long-term athlete development piece, we've already been putting that in place, we've already been doing that. A couple of the girls actually came to our first home game against Aston Villa. So we're looking at, starting to align the process of how we produce female athletes in and around Essex and East London, and hopefully, go on and show that females can have careers in the sport. Also, I think as well, because of where the Pulse are based at the Copper Box and us having our home at the London Stadium, we have that, really it's an obligation to promote women's sport in and around the community.
Do you have an end game? Do you have something that you'll look at in a few years and think that was success?
If we can bring girls from Essex and East London through our pathways into our first team and let them become a Lionesses, that's our own individual success. I think as a group, if we can do that collectively within our own sports, and what would be fantastic might be a girl that started playing netball, ended up playing football, or a girl that was playing cricket, went to rugby, or vice versa. But if we were all working together, to increase the number of female athletes that play at the elite level for England or Great Britain, as it may be, that have come from Essex and East London, and I think we've done our jobs.
And how far can this partnership with basketball, rugby, football, cricket and netball, how far can it go in this part of the world?
We're all incredibly ambitious. I think I said earlier, we all want to be the best that we can be in our sphere, and imagine if we could do that across 5-6 different sports, then there's going to be so many opportunities for young players to play. We've spent about 18 months talking, because as like everyone, it's been restrictions at what you can and can't do. So it almost feels like we're at a point now where all those great ideas we have had, we're starting to bring to life, and there's going to be more and more over the coming months.
You're listening to Centre Pass from London Pulse. Still to come, we hear from new signings Sasha McDonald and Taylor Honey as they reflect on their first weeks in London. And we'll also speak to some self-confessed London Pulse superfans. Following the postponement in 2021, the Copper Box is also set to host the London Pulse Corporate Cup with club partners Keating Chambers.
My name is Marie Sparks. I'm the Head of Business Development and Marketing at Keating Chambers, which is a specialist barristers chamber specialising in construction law.
Tell us why a law firm in the world of construction gets involved with a netball franchise.
Yeah, it doesn't really seem like the obvious fit, but we play netball, so Keating have got their own netball team. We've got a few initiatives for women in chambers. I think being construction, it's typically a male-dominated environment, so one of our key drivers is to create lots of opportunities for women, and I started talking to Sam and Claire with the idea of sponsoring a player, and I think their passion and their ambition just seems quite infectious, really. I think a lot of the issues in sort of recruiting barristers and recruiting netball players are actually really similar as well. We have the issue of people sort of self-selecting away, thinking I can't be good enough to do that, I'm not from an Oxford University, or I don't have the financial backing. So I think some of the issues that we have are shared, and just being involved in a really passionate, diverse team of young women was just something we were really keen to support.
And the vision that Sam has got for London Pulse, a 10-year strategy as well, that's ambitious, and that must be something then that you back and support?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we definitely didn't come into this just thinking we'd do it for 1 year. We're sponsoring a corporate cup, and the idea behind that is every year getting some corporate London company teams to play at the Copper Box against each other. And we don't just want to do that as a one-off. We'd like to support them for a long time. I think the 10-year plan just shows that ambition, and if you talk to any member of the staff team, they've got the capability to do that, and we would love to be on that journey with them and just proving all the talent that we have in London.
Tell us a bit more about the Corporate Cup. When's it happening? How can we get involved?
So it starts in March. There's a date. It should be released soon. So I guess the best thing to do would be to keep an eye on our social media and watch this space, really. But it should be really exciting. I think there's going to be about 12 different teams. 3 of them are going to be mixed teams, and 9 of them are female only. So yeah, just an opportunity to play in the Copper Box. Not something we get to do every day. And I think each team will have 1 or 2 Pulse players as well there to support them.
That sounds great fun. CEO and head coach Sam Bird, together with performance director Lisa Alexander, have now finalised their roster in anticipation of the new Vitality Netball Superleague season. 10 players have been retained. There are signings from Loughborough Lightning and Manchester Thunder, plus 2 new imports.
I'm Sasha McDonald, I'm a goal attack and I play for London Pulse.
I'm Taylor Honey, I'm a wing attack centre and I also play for London Pulse.
I think for both of us, we've spent a lot of time together in the last couple of years playing netball, and we're in a similar position, and when the opportunity came up we just thought, what a wonderful opportunity to do something different and come over here. And I think when we got laid out what London Pulse looked like for us, it was pretty inviting and it was pretty hard to say no.
So what was laid out about London Pulse?
I think for me, and I know Sash personally, it was just all about the opportunity, and I think this club is going to help us grow as people and as players, and obviously there is a big appeal coming to Europe and obviously being around so many other different countries, and the opportunities are endless. So I think that was also really exciting for us too and was a big draw point, but mostly the coaching and the players, we really wanted to experience that.
Because they talk about a project here. Do you get that feeling now that you're here?
Yeah, like a building project over time, definitely. And I think that quite often the young word and youth and maybe a little bit of inexperience, but I think that we can kind of harness that and use that for the better. And definitely seeing signs from our first week of training that we've got something really special kind of locked into Pulse, and hopefully on this court we can kind of show everyone else in the UK what we're made of. So yeah.
What do you think of London so far?
My first impression obviously was it's pretty cold, but I think it's really pretty. It's so amazing. It's quite grand. We've done a little bit of sightseeing here and there, and I think it's just so different to Australia, and that's really interesting for us too, to be able to experience the city side of it.
And what would you see as the ambition for you personally and for the team with the coming season early in 2022?
I think some people see imports maybe using or coming to UK for personal gain, and obviously there is a little bit of that. We want to grow as players and whether opportunities come up from that, but for me, I just want to be part of a team. I want to have fun, I want to grow, and I want to really build something. I find that really special as part of a team, so that's the biggest thing for me coming over here, is being part of a team, learning, having fun, and I think just getting back out on court and playing and learning, everything like that.
There's always this England-Australia rivalry in any sport. Will there be a bit of rivalry on the court at London Pulse, just to try and bring each other on, if you like?
I think always there's rivalry no matter what country you're in against your teammates when you're training. At training, that's how you best prepare yourself for matches. Obviously, when you play against opposition, they're not going to give you an inch. So if you're doing that with your teammates at training, that really is the best preparation.
You've been here a week, you've been training. What have been the first impressions of your teammates?
They're really good. Really, really good. And I think that's amazing for us, young, and we're just bursting with talent. And that's what we're after, compete against the best and then hopefully be the best in the end.
And we're looking forward to seeing Sasha and Taylor in action soon. This edition of Centre Pass, the London Pulse podcast, is coming from Queen Elizabeth Olympic Park, where players, staff, partners and sponsors have come together for a special event, an evening with London Pulse. Also on the guest list, a number of London Pulse's big supporters, including superfans Anna Wallace and Boo Beckett.
Before actually meeting Anna, I didn't really watch any netball, but then Anna plays netball. I think plays for about 3 different teams right now. And she wanted to come and support a team, so we chose London Pulse as it was our closest team. And then when we first started coming, we thought, well, this is just absolutely marvellous. This is great. It was really good atmosphere, really competitive sport as well. And that was it. From that point on, season ticket holders would come to every game. It's absolutely brilliant.
What is it about netball? People listening, why should they be encouraged to follow a team, come and see a team, come and watch London Pulse week in, week out?
It's just the atmosphere for me, being in London, being part of a team myself. I understand what the girls feel when they play. It's just really enjoyable.
And how important is it that London Pulse don't just want to be a Vitality Superleague club, they want to be part of their community, they want to do more work than just on the court?
It's massively important to bring the young kids through. I umpire as well. I see the young kids play from sort of 8 years old, and it's just really important that they see girls playing at the top standard and they know they can get there.
And Boo, how aware are you of the work that London Pulse are doing, not just with their Super League players, but at age group level, in a community level as well?
Yeah, it's very obvious. I mean, I follow it on Twitter all the time, so I see what they're up to, especially with some of the youngsters, the under-14s. Sam had a team play during the Fast 5 tournament, and they were brilliant, even at under-14. I mean, they were better than some of the adults that we watch locally. And but the way the club interacts with fans is just absolutely outstanding. There's not a them and us thing, it's just us. And that, for me, really stands out with the club.
How excited are you by this season with Lisa arriving and obviously divvying up the duties with Sam for the new year?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really exciting because last few seasons we thought maybe, just to get a few results, a few wins, but we just look really good now. We look like one of the teams all the other teams are going to be talking about, and I think that's great to look forward to that.
And how much did you miss it when you couldn't come and see it week in, week out? It was happening, we were watching it on Sky Sports, on YouTube, but how much did you miss going to the Copper Box?
Massively. It's like a big part of our social life. It's something we do together, which is quite rare in this day and age. And we made sure we watched every match we could online and on TV, and we kept up. We did their workouts that they posted on YouTube, didn't we? Missed it so much.
Anna and Boo, looking forward to cheering London Pulse on soon. That's it for this edition. If you've been listening for the first time, thank you. Please follow for much more. And don't forget to download the first 3 episodes to find out even more about the club and its work.
Firstly, want to thank you all for your support, and we hope that you continue to support us through the season, and the sponsors. We also want to say thank you for just being here and doing everything you have to do behind the scenes to keep us going. We will perform for you this season, hopefully, and we are super excited.
This is Centre Pass from London Pulse.
It's right to be excited. I think we're all very excited, and we can't wait to put out some amazing performances for them to watch.